Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Michelle, and today I thought I would share with you how we handle the holidays with having celiac disease. If you're new here, I have a 5-year-old daughter who has celiac disease. She was diagnosed at 3.5, and I thought it'd be a good idea to put out a video how we handle going to family get-togethers where there's obviously going to be food, especially during the holiday season, and how best to navigate that. So we are a gluten-free family of 5. We've all gone gluten-free because of my daughter. But obviously when we leave this house, we're entering a world that's not gluten-free. And I think there are many people that are understanding and helpful, and they want to be during this season. For example, my sister-in-law just texted me the other day, yesterday, do you want me to make, because we're going to her house for Christmas this year, she said, do you want me to make everything on the menu gluten-free? And I said, I really appreciate that, but even if you got all gluten-free ingredients, the chances are that your kitchen and your pots, pans, cooking utensils are all probably cross-contaminated with gluten. And I think that's a big thing that people don't understand. We have a lot of people that, my husband's a pastor, so a lot of people at church will bake us things for the holiday season. What people don't understand is it's not just about the ingredients being gluten-free, but also the workspace, your kitchen, the pots and pans, the bowls, the cooking utensils you use. If those had come in contact with gluten, that can be a cross-contamination issue. For example, wooden spoons will hold gluten in them. Plastic bowls, plastic spatulas, if there's a scratch in them, and you used it to say, you had a spatula and you used it to flip pancakes, that gluten is probably embedded in that plastic spatula, so if you use it to make another meal, you could cross-contaminate it. So my tip with that is, be polite when people offer food or to prepare things for you, but explain that it's just easier for you to bring your own food, and that's what we do, we bring our own food. And it can be definitely awkward at times, but it's better to be safe, at least in my mind. It's better to be cautious. And there are family members or friends who will understand what cross-contamination is and what extent. And again, that's for you to figure out and feel for yourself where they will understand the depth of your problem. If it's a food allergy, autoimmune condition, whatever it might be. But for us personally, we don't take the chance. So how we do that is, for example, Thanksgiving was pretty easy for us. We host Thanksgiving purposefully because that way we can ensure everything is gluten-free. Also, it's a good opportunity for people who've never had gluten-free food before to experience it and see that it's not so bad. So we host that, and I hope to share my favorite gluten-free recipes for the holidays shortly. So keep a lookout for that. But what I do for Christmas, because that's what we're coming up to now, is I will prepare the day before, or Christmas Eve, and the day before Christmas Eve, I will prepare our regular Christmas Eve dinner. So we have ham, we have green bean casserole, we have cornbread pudding, cranberries, all those normal things you would have, except they happen to be gluten-free. So I will prepare a normal Christmas Eve dinner, and what I will do with that is I will make sure I save, because there will be leftovers, because there's only 5 of us. And, you know, my 1.5-year-old doesn't really count. He doesn't eat much. Most of it ends up on the floor. So I will make sure I have those leftovers, and I will pack them up. So what I use to pack them up and take them to whatever house we're going to the next day, so my daughter has something to eat, because my husband and my 8-year-old can't eat whatever they want. They have no food allergies, sensitivities, or autoimmune conditions. Myself and my 1.5-year-old have a dairy sensitivity, so we don't necessarily have an allergy, but we don't do well when we ingest dairy. So we stay away from that. So I pack food for myself and for my 5-year-old daughter who's gluten-free. And what we use for that is, I think Pyrex is an awesome option to pack leftovers. We recently got a set at Costco for $20, and it does have a plastic lid, but the rest is glass. And what I really like about this is we try to avoid using plastic in our house, because like I said before, gluten can easily be trapped in plastic, so if there's ever a cross-contamination issue, I don't want to have to throw out my brand new lids. So It is glass, so what we can do is we store the leftovers in here, and it comes again in a variety of sizes. So what I really like about these Pyrex ones is I could easily store my daughter's dinner in here. I could put some ham, some cornbread pudding, some green bean casserole, some cranberries, whatever, in this dish, pop it in the oven when we get to wherever we're going, or even microwave it because it is obviously glass, microwave safe. And that way, I don't have to worry about transferring food from one container to another, especially when you're talking about, usually at holiday get-togethers, there's buffet style, right? People serve themselves. Well, the problem with that is if someone is eating crackers that contain, say, wheat, which most crackers do, and then they touch the silverware that's out, and they touch the plates that are out. All those things now have traces of gluten on it, and I don't think people realize that it takes a very small amount of gluten to make someone with celiac disease sick. Like a grain of salt size can make someone with celiac disease sick if they're ingesting it. So you might think, okay, well, they're not eating the silver, or they're not necessarily putting everything in their mouth, but if someone is eating a bunch of crackers, especially when you have younger kids at holiday get-togethers that just kind of graze everything and touch everything, they are putting those gluten on things. So when my child goes to pick up a plate or that fork, there's potential gluten on it. So it's nice to have it all contained in one area. I can be like, here you go. And same with me and my son. I can make our own little dishes with that too. And again, it comes in a variety of sizes. So for example, this might be a good one for cranberry sauce if I don't want it to get all mushy with the rest of the food. So I will do that. And we of course bring a cooler with us because that's how we fit all of our food. And we also have, this is from Walmart, it's a pretty good size lunch bag that we can fit these containers in very nicely too. So depending on how much food we have to bring, I might put dinners in here and then desserts or whatever appetizers we're bringing in the cooler. So that is how we handle that. And again, if you're doing buffet style, it's very important that if your child chooses to do that, for example, I know there's a lot of pre-made fruit and veggie trays, which despite the dip inside are usually, the fruit and veggies are usually gluten-free, but the problem again with that is if other people are touching it, it could have gluten on it if you have a wide range of gluten options on your table. So with prepackaged things, I always ask that my child go first. So if there's a veggie tray, that they're the first person that tries that or chooses their food. Same when we bring, say, cookies, gluten-free cookies, I make sure my daughter chooses what she wants first before I put it on the table for everybody else to have, because there are gluten-containing products on the table as well, and if, again, that cross-contamination issue. So again, you want your child to choose those things first. And if people are very nice and they ask, what can we have for your child? I always say something that's prepackaged, something that has the gluten-free label on it. Again, I have a video explaining what different gluten-free labels mean, but it can be daunting for someone who's never read food labels before or ingredient lists to understand what to look for. And it's difficult because the gluten-free isn't always on the same part of the package. Sometimes it's a label on the front, sometimes it's backed by the ingredients, sometimes it's on the bottom, sometimes it's on the top. So it can be confusing. So again, if you want to know gluten-free food labels, look at that. There's a variety of apps out there where you can scan products. My favorite app, Spoonful, unfortunately, used to be free, but starting December 1st is no longer free. It's a paid app. Sad, but I do use the gluten-free scanner, which is also a free app, and you can scan the product and it'll give you a better idea of if it's safe or not for someone who's not very familiar with ingredients lists. But normally I will just ask that they provide something prepackaged with gluten-free on it. Also not to open it until we get there, that way there's no issues with cross-contamination. So my other tip would be especially when you're traveling, to make it convenient for yourself. I understand how difficult it can be to live a gluten-free life, especially when you leave your household. We're going about 2 hours away for family. Of course, it's gonna be during Christmas when nothing will be open, so stopping at the store isn't exactly an option. So we really have to bring everything with us. So that being said, make it easier for yourself. Don't feel bad about getting prepackaged things. It's a busy season, you're doing the best you can. I'm gonna share some of my favorite prepackaged things to bring. So Aldi has a wonderful line of gluten-free options. I'll show it right here. We get the gluten-free cornbread. And again, in my recipe video, I'll show you how I kind of adjust and dress them up. One, to make them dairy-free, but two, to kind of enhance it so it's not just like a boxed cornbread or a boxed stuffing, you know, give it a little more something. So the stuffing and the cornbread pudding are really good at Aldi. I do alter them to make them a little more delicious, but they are plain by themselves, they are still good. So one of the things Aldi has during Thanksgiving and Christmas season is the fried onions, which are also gluten-free. I also just realized Kroger carries these. Again, Kroger is a grocery store by me. I know depending on where you live, it goes under different names. When we lived in Ohio, it was called Copps, C-O-P-P-S. So again, you may have a store just under the same brand name or corporate name. So check out Kroger and what options are available around you. But they also sell year-round gluten-free fried onions, and they sell a lot of gluten-free products. What I really like about Kroger too is it has on the sticker tab on the shelves for the price, GF in purple if something is gluten-free, which makes it super easy to shop. But again, cranberry sauce. I usually make my own, and what I do is at Thanksgiving when I make it, I will make a double batch and freeze it, and then I have it for Christmas as well. Same with my pumpkin pie. I make it from scratch because again, you can find gluten-free pumpkin pie, but it's not dairy-free. So I make it from scratch and it's really good. And again, I just make two during Thanksgiving, freeze the other one. Any desserts I have left over from Thanksgiving that weren't eaten, just freeze them, same for Christmas. But my husband really enjoys the jelly cranberry sauce in a can, so we always have that as well. But convenience items are fine. So for more dessert items, again, convenience is fine. I know gluten-free pies can be expensive. Problem we usually have is they also contain dairy. So I do make some desserts from scratch, and again, that recipe video I will share later. I will show you what those are. But convenience items. This is a great option. This is at Kroger. I know it's also at Target. Some Walmarts have them. Woodman's, if you have a Woodman's in your area, it has a wonderful gluten-free section, also a wonderful dairy-free section. They have gluten-free pies, very reasonably priced for about $13 to $15, which is amazing, and it's an actual full pie, not, you know, the box pies you usually get that aren't as impressive or big. So Woodman's is a wonderful grocery store to check out if you have one of those by you. But this is vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, soy-free. It is really good. You can eat the cookie dough raw. They have a variety of flavors. It's reasonably priced, and it's something to bring that you know your child can eat. Another convenience item I really like is the Cat's Line. We got a bunch of different items for Thanksgiving. This was one of them, the mini pies. Again, they are gluten-free, dairy-free, nut-free, soy-free. They do contain eggs if that's an issue for you. They do have some products that don't have eggs, but most of their desserts and pastry items do have eggs in them. But I really like this. We got their pies for Thanksgiving. Their oatmeal cream pies are also really good. But again, these are just simple, convenient items that you can stick in your freezer until you're ready to use. I highly recommend checking out that website. There are many stores that also carry this brand. I know Walmart carries it, Target carries it, Woodman's carries it. Most grocery stores will have some form of it depending on where you live, but check out this brand for dessert items. They have cinnamon rolls, they have bread, they have it all. And I have yet to be disappointed by any of their products. It's really good, and most of the time people can't even tell it's gluten-free when we bring something like this to a get-together. So those would be my main tips. Make it easier for yourself. Find those convenient items. It's easier to travel with them, make the food ahead of time, inform people of your sensitivities, your allergies, your autoimmune conditions, but also take it upon yourself to make sure you have food to eat. Nothing would be worse than being at Christmas dinner and not having anything to eat, or eating something that was cross-contaminated and being either glutenized or having an allergic reaction to something, because that's going to make Christmas not so fun, which leads to my last tip. Always pack an extra change of clothes for the child that has the issue, or if you have an issue, that way if you get sick or you have an accident, you have an extra pair of clothes, which is my last tip. Make sure you have a barf bag in your vehicle. My child, like I said, we travel a long distance to see family. Nothing would be worse than leaving Christmas dinner 45 minutes on the road. My child starts violently throwing up because she ate gluten. So we always make sure we have an extra pair of clothes and a barf bag available, and baby wipes and Lysol wipes and the whole thing. We have a whole little kit in our car in case there is an issue, which someone just gets sick, or if she encounters gluten, because it can go bad really quick. So those are my tips for holiday get-togethers with celiac disease. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. If you have any tips for yourself, please leave them down below. Again, we are only about 2 years into being gluten-free, so if there's any tips or hacks you have, I would love to know them down below. But thanks for watching.